every feeling, everything, your entire lifetime plus all your past lifetimes together. And so what sometimes happens, what usually happens when we come into this planet, we kind of have this veil over, we forget a lot of those past things that we experienced because we have to go through this life on this planet Earth here. But what happens is we live on planet Earth, we get a lot of trauma, we get a lot of abuse, we get a lot of hurt, we get a lot of pain, and all this stuff basically squashes our energy system, our spirit down inside us, where we get this dense, heavy energy that we're walking around with. And then what I do with my clients is we just kind of start releasing all this dense stuff out layer by layer. And as we do, their spirit starts to come alive again. Their consciousness starts to come alive again. They begin to have spiritual experiences. They begin to tap into who they really are. They begin to remember who they really are and what their reason is for coming on the planet. And they really begin to what I call live instead of just exist. And so that's what I love about doing this energy-based work, is just all the clearing I can do out of people so they can discover who they really are.
So the people who come to you typically, do they have a presenting physical complaint? You know, they have a serious illness or something, or do
no,
or is it spiritual? I mean, what kind of complaint do they tell you they have?
Well, I primarily work with people that have issues of abuse and trauma, fear, anxiety, and stress. And so those are the issues that people primarily come to see me for.
Okay, so they're sort of life issues. They're
life issues, but many times life issues are associated with also different types of physical pain and illness and disease that they have accumulated over the years because they haven't dealt with those life issues.
So someone may come to you and say, you know, I'm only 40, but I feel like I'm 90. I'm very stressed. I'm tired all the time. What else might they say that, and you know that's someone you really can help?
Yes, if someone would come to me like that, we'd kind of, like I said, I always do an assessment to find out what's really going on in their life. And if people are under a lot of stress, which most people are, it's basically because their life is out of balance. They're living with a lot of fear, rather than trusting God, trusting the universe to provide everything for them, because they haven't been taught that existence is reality for people. People on this planet are taught you have to strive and work so hard and stress, and
oh, yeah.
they're taught this pattern, you have to do this, and then you have to do this, and you have to do this, and they're locked up in this box, and it just causes so much stress for them. But as I work with them, I begin to help them understand that's not what they were created to be, and that layer by layer we can release these things and really teach them how to provide the life that they actually want to live that doesn't have to have all that stress, and how to learn to really trust God, trust the universe, and how to learn how to love yourself and not do all this people-pleasing and trying to conform to everybody's expectations around you, which just causes so much stress in people's lives.
Do some people come to you who have, you know, cancer or ALS or serious illnesses? Do you get that too?
No, I rarely see those, because those people are primarily going to be going to medical professionals because that's what they've been trained to do.
But if someone had that kind of an illness and was listening and thought, gee, you know, I'm kind of disgusted with the medical. All right, so someone comes to you who has a severe physical illness that the doctors have not been handling all that well, and they're frustrated about that. And no one's telling them to stop dealing with doctors, but they say, can you help me? Is there some way that you can help them in conjunction perhaps with physical medicine to more effectively fight, whether it's cancer or ALS or any, you know, Parkinson's, any serious illness?
Yes, I personally believe that the holistic healing field needs to work closely with the medical field. I don't think we throw out the medical field because they are skilled in doing a lot of things and understanding how the physical body works much more so than I do. But what I would be able to do is really look underneath the physical symptoms and kind of figure out, okay, what happened in their life, any type of abuse, trauma, stress, repressed emotions. Sometimes, a lot of times our thoughts, we have a lot of self-critical thoughts toward ourselves. We have a lot of faulty belief systems that can manifest as physical illness and disease. So I would kind of look at all of those things with the person, and if we can identify that some of those may be the root cause of the physical illness or disease they're having, then we can release some of that stuff energetically, and then hopefully we'll be able to see signs of the physical illness start to get less and less, and then to begin to be healed in some form. But physical illness disease that people have had for quite some time, whether it's cancers or autoimmune disordered diseases, these have built up over years and years and years and years. So it takes a while to clear them out energetically. It's not like a quick fix. The time it takes a little bit of work to clear that stuff out, and some time working with a person.
Suppose someone comes to you who has been diagnosed with a mental illness of some kind. Maybe they're being treated for it. Maybe it's severe depression, or it's I don't know, borderline personality disorder. All the things that there are all kinds of mental illnesses we believe people have. Are you able to help them?
Yes, because that's kind of my background, being a trained psychotherapist, just working with understanding the mental health disorders. So yeah, it'd be the same thing. I'd be looking at the symptoms they have, whether it's anxiety disorders, whether it's paranoia, whether it's depression, whatever it happens to be. And here again, looking at what are the root causes, what caused them to have these mental health disorders, and little by little releasing that stuff out. Now, sometimes with the mental health disorders, some of them are very difficult to treat energetically for a couple reasons. One, there's very few people that are actually trying to treat mental health disorders using energy-based treatments. This is a whole new field that very few people are walking into. We're doing really well at learning how to treat a lot of pain and illness and disease, physical stuff, using energy-based treatments. But the mental health disorders, there's not a lot of research being done and using energy for them. So it's a whole new field out there that we're beginning to work into to see what can we work. Like I know with anxiety disorders, that's my specialty. So, I know we can use energy-based treatments to treat that very, very effectively. Schizophrenia can be a little bit more difficult because you're dealing with a lot of mindsets that are very deeply ingrained in the person. Bipolar can be treated, using energy-based treatments. Depression can also, but depression is difficult because we know all the steps it takes to cure depression, but depressed people don't have the motivation to actually do those steps. So depression can be cured energetically. It just takes, it's a slow process to cure it.
So what you're saying is this is a new field, and it's one in which you are working, and you have confidence that the kinds of things you could do for people actually would help them.
I believe they would. Like I said, we don't have the research out there, so not enough people doing it yet, but I on my own just kind of experimenting with different clients to see what works, what doesn't work using energy-based treatments in terms of people that have mental health disorders.
Well, we're going to take another break, and we're talking with Joyce Stewart, who I think it is just an extraordinary, as I call her, a spiritual polymath. She has studied basically her journey has replicated mine in some ways, but especially if you are a Christian and you have these concerns, or if you're not, because it turns out it doesn't matter what you might believe spiritually, and what kind of religion you might follow. If you've got concerns that make you want to understand more deeply what is going on with yourself, with your body, with your mind, with your spirit, the kinds of things Joyce and others like her are doing are really the way forward. I love what she has come to understand is true about Christianity. She still uses the term God. I have gone away from it because I think that it puts into people's minds the Jehovah God of the Old Testament with a beard. He's got thunderbolts, and he gets cranky very, very quickly. And actually, that God doesn't exist, never has, never will. Nope. But now, tell me, Joyce, when you use the word God, what are you seeing?
Well, right now, when I use the term God, I see a force of light and energy that is 100% divine love.
It's just love. That's right.
Yeah, that's just an energy force of love and healing. That's what I see now when I visualize the term God. But like you said, people use, source. There's so many different terminologies that we use for the word God nowadays. And I don't really think it matters what term you use as long as you understand the concept that there is a spiritual being out there who created you and loves you very, very much and wants to be connected and have a relationship with you.
I think that the definition of God I most like is Mikey Morgan's. As people who have listened for a long time know, Mikey is an extraordinary young man who came to Earth specifically to understand us so he could teach us. And one of the first things he taught us after he had gone back home was that he was a very advanced 6th-level being. And when we asked him what God is, he said immediately, God is the unity of pure love and all that exists.
That's right.
And I think that's about as succinct as you can get. But Mikey always cuts to the chase. So that is what God really is. When Joyce uses the term God, that's what she means. When I might talk about source, that's what I mean. At the level of God, there is only love, and we are here to learn to grow toward that love. That's why we came. It's too hard to do it, frankly, where we spend most of eternity, because there's so much love there. I mean, there's no negativity to push against. Just like you go to the gym so you can work out your muscles. Here we're working our spiritual muscles, and if we do that right, we can make tremendous spiritual progress in one lifetime. So what do you see as the connections when we're in bodies between the conscious and subconscious, or I prefer to call it superconscious mind?
In terms of how we relate to the spiritual realm around us? Okay,
in terms of however you see it, Joyce.
So I see, like I said, we all are a spiritual being within our physical body. So we all have our own personal energy spirit system of which we were created and which defines who we are. But then we also have this huge spiritual realm, this consciousness of energy that is all around us. And so we're constantly interacting with everybody else's spiritual energy as we go through life. And then we got the spiritual energy beyond this planet that's out there with all the other star beings and spiritual beings and angels and archangels and the ascended masters, all of that energy also that ties into it. So everything is connected, from the smallest, tiniest cell atom within your body that is vibrational energy, all the way out there to the presence of God, which is vibrational frequency energy. We are all connected. We are all one source, I guess you could say, but we're expressed in many, many different parts or many different ways.
That's great. And I think it's very important for people to remember that what we think of as matter is actually just energy. And
it's energy. That's all it is. Yeah.
No, somebody no less amazing than Albert Einstein said that. He said, concerning matter, we have been all wrong. What we think of as matter is just energy whose vibration has been lowered to the point where we can, see it and touch it. But it's all energy. So that makes sense then. I mean, if consciousness is the source energy, and if all of matter is energy, and your body is matter, your body is energy, and of course your mind is energy and not created by your body just receives it. So right. If that's all true, then it would make perfect sense that Bruce Lipton is right, that Joyce Stewart is right, that energy healing is an immensely powerful way to attack whatever it is that is making your life less wonderful, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual. This makes sense. It's not woo-woo. This is just basic science coming from a place where scientists won't yet go because they're so stuck in the notion that they've got to stay material or it's not science. They're wrong. They have a much greater field to explore, and when they begin to do that, we're going to make leaps forward that we cannot even imagine at this point. Nikola Tesla said, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence." Now, Nikola Tesla was a genius. He's much more than a car. He is a genius, and he was right about that. And as in all things he did, he was very much ahead of his time. So, all right, with that background, how does energy healing work? How does it really work?
Well, energy is all based on vibrational frequencies. So when you have sickness or disease in the body, when you're feeling a lot of emotions like fear and anxiety and anger, depression, you're experiencing very dense, low, heavy vibrating frequencies within your mind and body. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the very high vibrational frequencies, which are love and joy and peace. And when you're feeling that, your body's in a state of wonderful health. And then it's everything in between. So what you need to do is you want to go into somebody and you want to raise their low vibrating frequencies to a higher level. And there's lots and lots of different ways in which we can do this. There's so many different types and methods to energy healing that you can use. And so I will just kind of speak for myself on the healing treatments that I use. I mentioned the emotion code earlier. Another one I use is what I call theta healing. So theta healing is based on our belief system. So everything starts with a belief. So if you believe you're stupid, chances are you're going to live your life like you're stupid. If you believe you're never going to be rich, chances are you're not going to make much money. If you believe you're never going to be able to find somebody who will love you, chances are you won't. If you believe you're always going to be sick, chances are you're always going to be sick. So we can go in using theta healing, and we can go in and change those belief systems energetically. And so I can change a belief system within you that may say, I believe that I'm always going to be poor, to maybe I believe it's possible for me to make some money or to be prosperous, however you want to word it. But it's very simple how we do that. We just have a statement that we make of the old belief and the new belief.